He's the only one who can see the real-world status system and distribute points to anyone. I'm your anime, and let's go. On an ordinary Tuesday morning in Tokyo, 17-year-old Kazuki Hayashi wakes up to what he thinks is just another boring day of high school. He's your typical average student, not particularly good at sports, gets decent grades, has exactly 2 friends, and spends most of his free time gaming. But as he opens his eyes and sits up in bed, something absolutely insane appears floating in front of his face. It's a translucent blue screen that looks exactly like a video game status window, and it's showing his own stats. Name Kazuki Hayashi. Level 1. Strength 5. Intelligence 7. Charisma 3. Luck 2. And at the bottom, there's a message that makes his heart stop. Tutorial complete. System administrator privileges granted. Kazuki rubs his eyes thinking he's still dreaming, but the screen doesn't disappear. He waves his hand through it and it ripples like water but remains visible. Then he notices something even crazier. When he looks at his bedroom door, he can see a small nameplate floating above it that says wooden door. Durability 85 out of 100. His mind is racing. Is this some kind of augmented reality prank? Did someone hack his brain? But then he remembers staying up until 3 a.m. last night playing a new VR MMO game, and the last thing he saw before passing out was a weird glitch screen that said synchronization error, reality matrix compromised. Kazuki slowly gets out of bed and looks at himself in the mirror. Above his reflection, he sees his status screen floating there. He thinks about his strength stat of 5 and wonders what that even means. Then he has an idea. He focuses on the number and suddenly a plus and minus button appear next to it. His jaw drops. There's also a number at the top of his screen that says, available points 50. His hand trembles as he reaches toward the plus button next to strength. The moment he mentally clicks it, he feels a surge of energy course through his entire body. His muscles tense up, and he feels like he just downed 3 energy drinks at once. He looks at his reflection and his strength is now 6. He flexes his arm experimentally and realizes he can actually feel the difference. On impulse, he walks over to his desk and tries to lift it with one hand. Before he could barely move it, but now he lifts it like it's made of styrofoam. He immediately panics and puts it down because this is absolutely insane. He has 49 points left, and he's terrified to use more without understanding what's happening. Kazuki decides to go to school and figure this out. Maybe he's having a mental breakdown and needs to act normal until it passes. He gets dressed and heads downstairs where his mom is making breakfast. The moment he sees her, a status screen appears above her head. Mom Hayashi, level 12. Cooking 92, kindness 88, stress 73. Kazuki almost chokes on his own spit. He can see other people's stats too. His mom asks if he's okay, and he just nods quickly and sits down to eat. He's trying not to stare at her stats, but he can't help noticing that her stress level is pretty high. He wonders why, and then remembers his dad has been working overtime for the past 3 months, and she's been handling everything alone. Without really thinking about it, he focuses on her stress stat, and sure enough, plus and minus buttons appear. He looks at his available points, still 49, and thinks about it for just a second before clicking minus on her stress stat 5 times. He watches in amazement as the number drops from 73 to 68, and his available points go down to 44. His mom suddenly takes a deep breath and her shoulders relax. She smiles and says she feels so much better all of a sudden. Kazuki's heart is pounding. He just changed another person's stats. This isn't just about him. This is about everyone. On the train to school, Kazuki is surrounded by people and status screens are everywhere. He sees a businessman with stress 99 and fatigue 97. He sees a college girl with confidence 20 and anxiety 85. He sees an elderly man with health 42 and pain level 70. It's overwhelming. Every single person has stats floating above their heads, and he's the only one who can see them. He starts to understand the magnitude of what's happened to him. He's not just a player in this system. The screen literally called him a system administrator. He has the power to change people's lives by adjusting numbers, but he only has 44 points left and he already used 6. He needs to be smart about this. He needs to understand the rules. As the train pulls into his station, Kazuki notices something else. At the very edge of his vision, there's a small menu icon that says System Settings. He makes a mental note to check that later when he's alone. At school, Kazuki's mind is completely blown. His homeroom teacher has teaching 78 and patience 32. His best friend Ryota has humor 81 and social anxiety 65. The popular girl Sakura has confidence 95 and empathy 12. Everyone is just a collection of numbers and stats, and he can see all of it. During lunch, Ryota notices that Kazuki seems distracted and asks what's wrong. Kazuki almost tells him but stops himself. How do you explain that you can see everyone's stats like they're NPCs in a video game? Instead, he just says he didn't sleep well. Ryota laughs and says he looks like he aged 10 years overnight. Kazuki forces a smile, but inside he's freaking out. He excuses himself to go to the bathroom and locks himself in a stall. He needs to figure out the rules of this system before he does anything else. He focuses on the system settings menu, and it opens up with dozens of options. There's an option for stat visibility, point generation, distribution rules, and something called reality anchors. He clicks on point generation and reads the description. Points are generated passively at a rate of 1 point per hour or can be earned through specific achievements. Current generation rate 1 point per hour. Kazuki does the math. That means he gets 24 points per day just by existing. That's actually pretty good. Then he checks the achievements list and his eyes widen. Help someone in genuine need, 5 points. Prevent a tragedy, 20 points. Improve someone's life significantly, 10 points. Make someone genuinely happy, 3 points. The list goes on and on. Kazuki realizes this isn't just about distributing random points. The system is designed to reward him for helping people. It's like the universe turned into an RPG and made him the admin with the goal of making the world better. But there's also a warning at the bottom. Misuse of administrator privileges may result in system penalties or revocation of access. He gulps. So there are rules and consequences. He can't just go around maxing out everyone's stats for fun. He needs to be responsible about this. He goes back to class and pays attention to the people around him with new eyes. He sees a girl sitting alone in the back of the classroom. Her name is Hana, and her stats show loneliness 92, depression 78, self-esteem 8. Kazuki's heart breaks. He's seen her around school but never really talked to her. She's always by herself and people kind of ignore her. He looks at his 44 points and makes a decision. After class, he's going to talk to her and see if he can help. The bell rings and everyone rushes out, but Hana stays in her seat organizing her books slowly, like she's in no hurry to go anywhere. Kazuki takes a deep breath and walks over to her desk. He says hi and asks if she's in his class. It's a dumb question since they've been in the same class for months, but he doesn't know how else to start. Hana looks surprised that anyone is talking to her and nods quietly. Kazuki notices her hands are shaking slightly. He can see her anxiety stat climbing from 60 to 75 in real time. He sits down in the desk next to her and asks if she likes video games. Her eyes light up for just a second and she nods again. She mentions she plays a lot of RPGs at home. Kazuki smiles and says he's the same. They start talking about games, and for the first time, he sees her stats change. Loneliness drops from 92 to 85. Happiness increases from 15 to 28. He's doing it. He's actually making a difference just by talking to her. After about 10 minutes of conversation, Hana actually smiles and thanks him for chatting with her. She says most people don't really notice her. Kazuki feels a pang of guilt because he was one of those people until today. As she's about to leave, he takes a chance and focuses on her self-esteem stat. He puts 10 points into it, bringing it from 8 to 18. He also reduces her depression from 78 to 68 with another 10 points. He's down to 24 points now, but he doesn't care. The moment the stats change, Hana stands up a little straighter. She looks at Kazuki and says she'll see him tomorrow with actual confidence in her voice. As she walks away, Kazuki gets a notification. Achievement unlocked. Made someone genuinely happy. 3 points awarded. Help someone in genuine need. 5 points awarded. He smiles. He's already earned back 8 points. This is how the system works. You help people and you get rewarded for it so you can help more people. It's a beautiful cycle. Over the next few days, Kazuki starts to experiment more with his abilities. He realizes that some stats are easy to change while others are harder. Things like stress, fatigue, and minor emotions can be adjusted freely, and the effects are immediate. But core stats like strength, intelligence, and health require more points and the changes are more gradual. He also discovers that he can't just max out someone's stats and call it a day. The system has balance mechanics. If he raises someone's confidence too high without a foundation of real experience, they become arrogant instead of confident. If he lowers someone's anxiety too much without addressing the cause, they become reckless. He learns that the system is designed to enhance reality, not replace it. His job is to give people a boost, to help them over obstacles, not to make their problems disappear entirely. It's like he's a support character in everyone else's story. He makes them stronger, but they still have to fight their own battles. This realization makes him take his role even more seriously. He starts paying attention to everyone around him, not just his friends. He helps the tired businessman on the train by reducing his fatigue. He boosts the confidence of a kid being bullied. He lowers the pain level of the elderly man he sees every morning. Each small action earns him points, and more importantly, each action makes the world around him just a little bit better. But then something happens that changes everything. One afternoon, Kazuki is walking home from school when he sees a commotion near the shopping district. There's a crowd gathered around something and he hears sirens in the distance. He pushes through the crowd and sees a man collapsed on the ground clutching his chest. People are panicking and calling for an ambulance, but Kazuki can see the man's stats and his heart drops. Health 12 and dropping. Heart attack status severe. Time remaining 2 minutes. The ambulance won't make it in time. Kazuki's mind races. Can he save this person? He has 63 points saved up from all his good deeds over the past week. Without hesitating, he kneels down next to the man and focuses on his health stat. He dumps 30 points into it, watching it climb from 12 to 42. He also targets the heart attack status and spends another 20 points trying to reduce its severity from severe to moderate. The moment he confirms the changes, the man gasps and his eyes flutter open. His breathing stabilizes and color returns to his face. The crowd gasps in amazement. Someone says it's a miracle. The ambulance arrives a minute later and the paramedics are shocked to find the man conscious and stable. They rush him to the hospital, but the danger has passed. Kazuki stands there shaking. He just saved someone's life. He used 50 points, almost all his savings, but he saved an actual human life. As the crowd disperses, he gets a notification that makes tears well up in his eyes. Achievement unlocked. Prevent a tragedy. 20 points awarded. Save a human life. 50 points awarded. Special title earned. Guardian. Effect. Point generation increased to 2 per hour. Kazuki can barely process what just happened. The system rewarded him with 70 points for spending 50, and now he generates points twice as fast. The system wants him to save people. That's what this is all about. That night, Kazuki lies in bed staring at the ceiling. His guardian title is displayed prominently on his status screen, and he feels the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He has power that no one else has. He can see the problems people face, and he has the tools to fix them. But with only 70 points and limited generation, he can't help everyone. He needs to be strategic. He needs to focus on cases where he can make the biggest difference. He opens his system settings again and explores new options that appeared after earning the Guardian title. There's now a tab called Crisis Detection that will alert him when someone nearby is in serious danger. There's also a feature called Stat Analysis that lets him see not just current stats but trends over time. He can see if someone's depression is getting worse or if their health is declining. This is incredible. He's basically been given the tools to be a real-life hero without needing superpowers or a cape. He just needs his phone, his eyes, and his points. Kazuki makes a promise to himself that night. He's going to use this system to help as many people as possible. He's going to be the guardian that the system wants him to be. But he's also going to be smart about it because if he burns out or gets caught, he can't help anyone. The next day at school, Kazuki is paying attention to his crisis detection feature when it suddenly pings during lunch. There's a red alert coming from the roof of the school building. Someone is in critical emotional distress. Kazuki's blood runs cold. He knows what this means. He drops his lunch and runs toward the stairs, ignoring Ryota calling after him. He takes the stairs 3 at a time and bursts through the door to the roof. There's a girl standing on the edge looking down at the ground 4 stories below. Kazuki recognizes her. She's a third-year student named Yui. He can see her stats and they're horrifying. Depression 99, Hope 0, Suicidal intent 97, Time before action 30 seconds. Kazuki doesn't have time to think. He yells out to her to wait. Yui turns around startled and tells him to leave her alone. Her voice is empty and hollow. Kazuki holds up his hands and says he just wants to talk for 1 minute. She shakes her head and says there's nothing to talk about. She's tired. She's done. Everything hurts, and she can't take it anymore. Kazuki's mind is racing as he pulls up her full stats. He can see everything. Failed entrance exams, pressure from parents, bullying from classmates, breakup with boyfriend. It's all there in her history log. She's been drowning and no one noticed. He has 140 points available. He knows what he has to do. He starts pouring points into her stats while talking to her calmly. He dumps 40 points into Hope, bringing it from 0 to 40. He reduces her depression from 99 to 59 with another 40 points. He boosts her will to live from 2 to 32 with 30 points, and he uses his last 30 points to give her clarity, a stat he didn't even know existed until now, to help her think clearly through the fog of despair. As the stats change, Kazuki sees the transformation happen in real time. Yui's eyes, which were dead and empty, suddenly show a flicker of life. She blinks and looks confused. She steps back from the edge and looks at her hands like she's seeing them for the first time. She starts crying, not sad tears, but tears of relief and confusion. She asks what just happened. Why does she suddenly feel like she can breathe again? Kazuki walks slowly toward her and sits down on the roof, gesturing for her to sit with him. She does, her legs shaking. He tells her that sometimes our brains lie to us. Sometimes the chemicals get all messed up and we can't see clearly. But that doesn't mean the feelings aren't real or valid. It just means we need help to see through the fog. He tells her that she matters and that bad moments don't make a bad life. Yui is sobbing now, really sobbing, letting out all the pain she's been holding in. Kazuki just sits with her, not touching her but being present. After a few minutes, she thanks him and says she doesn't know why, but she feels like she can actually face tomorrow now. She says she'll talk to someone, maybe a counselor or her parents. She just needed to get through today. Kazuki nods and helps her stand up. They walk down from the roof together and he makes sure she goes to the school counselor's office before he leaves. As he's walking away, the notifications flood in. Achievement unlocked. Prevent a tragedy. 20 points awarded. Save a human life. 50 points awarded. Become someone's reason to keep living. 100 points awarded. Special title earned. Lifeline. Effect: crisis detection range increased. Emotional stat changes require 50% fewer points. Kazuki has to sit down on a bench because his hands won't stop shaking. He just saved someone from suicide. He just gave someone a reason to live. And the system rewarded him with 170 points, more than he spent. He's up to 310 total points now. But more than the points, he feels something he's never felt before. Purpose. He has a real purpose in this world. Word starts to spread around school about the girl who was saved on the roof, though no one knows the details. People just know that Kazuki Hayashi was involved somehow. Some students start looking at him differently. Ryota asks him directly what happened, but Kazuki just says he talked her down. He can't explain the truth. Meanwhile, Hana, the lonely girl he helped earlier, has become a completely different person. Her self-esteem is now at 35 through a combination of his initial boost and her own growth. She's made 2 new friends and joined the literature club. Every time Kazuki sees her smile, he feels proud. He helped make that happen. But he's also noticing something else. The more he uses the system, the more he understands its limitations and its potential for abuse. He realizes that he could theoretically make someone fall in love with him by maxing out their attraction stat. He could make someone his servant by lowering their willpower and raising their obedience. He could ruin someone's life by tanking their stats. The system gives him power over people in a way that's actually terrifying when he thinks about it. He makes a firm rule for himself. He will never manipulate people's emotions toward him personally. He will never use the system for personal gain. And he will never, ever use it to harm someone, no matter how much they might deserve it. This power is meant to help people, not control them. One day, Kazuki is at the convenience store after school when he sees something that makes his blood boil. There's a man in a business suit yelling at the teenage cashier over something trivial. The cashier's stats show fear 78, stress 92, and self-worth plummeting in real time. The man's stats show entitlement 95, empathy 6, and anger 88. Kazuki's first instinct is to lower the man's anger and boost his empathy to make him a better person, but he stops himself. That would be manipulating someone's personality without consent. That's not his job. Instead, he walks up and politely interrupts, asking the cashier for help finding something. This breaks the man's momentum and gives the cashier an out. The man huffs and storms away. The cashier thanks Kazuki with tears in his eyes. Kazuki uses just 5 points to reduce the kid's stress and tells him that some people are just miserable and take it out on others. It's not his fault. After Kazuki leaves, he gets an achievement notification. Stood up for someone in need. 3 points awarded. He smiles. He did the right thing without abusing his power. That's the kind of person he wants to be. As weeks pass, Kazuki becomes more skilled at using the system. He learns that he can set up automatic point distribution with certain triggers. For example, he can set it so that anyone within 10 meters of him automatically has their stress reduced by 5 points if it's above 80. It costs him 50 points to set up, but it's like a passive aura that makes everyone around him feel a little better. He also discovers that he can leave what he calls blessing marks on people. He can spend 50 points to create a mark that slowly regenerates one specific stat over time. He puts a health regeneration mark on the elderly man he sees every morning. He puts a confidence growth mark on a kid he sees getting bullied. He puts a depression reduction mark on someone he saw crying alone in the park. These marks last for 30 days and work passively without requiring more points. It's like he's planting seeds of improvement that grow on their own. He's turning his limited daily points into long-term investments in people's well-being. His point generation is now at 3 per hour thanks to achievements, which means 72 points per day. Combined with the points he earns from achievements, he's averaging about 100 points per day. He's essentially become a human support system, quietly making the world better one person at a time. But not everything goes smoothly. One day, Kazuki makes a mistake. He sees a student who's failing classes and decides to boost his intelligence stat significantly, spending 30 points to raise it from 45 to 75. He thinks he's helping the kid succeed. But 2 days later, he sees the same student and realizes his error. The kid's arrogance has shot up to 80, and his friendship stats are tanking. The sudden intelligence boost made him look down on his old friends and act superior. Kazuki feels terrible. He rushed to help without thinking about the consequences. He approaches the student and carefully lowers his arrogance while having a conversation about staying humble and remembering where you came from. He also reduces the intelligence boost from 75 to 60, making it less drastic. The student seems confused by the sudden personality shifts but gradually returns to normal. Kazuki learns a valuable lesson. Big changes need to be gradual. He can't just dump stats and expect everything to work out. People need time to adjust to improvements or they become unbalanced. The system is a tool, but it requires wisdom to use correctly. From that day on, he makes smaller, more gradual changes and monitors people over time to make sure his interventions are actually helping, not hurting. Kazuki's life has become a balancing act. He's still a high school student with homework, exams, and social obligations, but he's also the secret guardian of everyone around him. He starts keeping a notebook where he tracks people he's helped and monitors their progress. Hana is thriving now with self-esteem at 48 and new friends. The suicidal girl Yui is in therapy, and her hope stat is at 62 and climbing. The elderly man's health has stabilized at 65 thanks to the regeneration mark. Dozens of people have been touched by his interventions in small ways, most not even knowing anything happened. But Kazuki is starting to feel the weight of responsibility. He lies awake at night thinking about all the people he couldn't help, the crisis alerts that came from too far away, the people suffering in silence that his detection range can't reach. He has power, but it's limited, and that limitation haunts him. He wonders if there are other system administrators out there. The message he got on the first day said, "System administrator privileges granted," which implies there might be others. Or maybe he's the only one. Maybe this burden is his alone to carry. The thought is both terrifying and motivating. If he's the only one who can do this, then he has to do it as well as possible. One evening, Kazuki is eating dinner with his family when his crisis detection goes off with an alert he's never seen before. Mass casualty event detected. Location, shopping mall. Time until event, 15 minutes. Estimated casualties, 30 to 50 people. Threat level, extreme. Kazuki nearly chokes on his food. This is not a single person in crisis. This is something catastrophic about to happen. He looks at the location and realizes it's the mall just 3 train stops away. He has 15 minutes. He makes up an excuse about forgetting something at school and runs out the door. His mother yells after him, but he's already gone. On the train, his mind is racing. What kind of event causes 30 to 50 casualties? A bombing? A building collapse? An attack? He has 530 points saved up. He doesn't know if that's enough. He doesn't know if he can even stop something like this. But he has to try. The system is telling him this is going to happen, and he's the only one who can see it coming. As the train pulls into the station, he runs toward the mall. He gets there with 8 minutes to spare. He looks around desperately trying to figure out what's going to happen. Then he sees it. On the top floor of the mall, there's scaffolding for renovation work, and one of the support cables is frayed. His structural integrity vision, which he didn't even know he had, is showing him that the cable is about to snap. When it does, the entire scaffolding platform will fall onto the crowded food court below. Time until failure, 7 minutes. Estimated casualties if platform falls, 42 people. Kazuki's hands are shaking, but his mind is clear. He can't reinforce the cable from down here. He can't evacuate 42 people in 7 minutes without causing a panic. but he can change probability. He focuses on the cable and sees its stats. Durability, 8%. Stress load, 97%. Time until failure, 6 minutes, 30 seconds. He has an idea that's absolutely insane. He opens his system administrator panel and finds an option he's never used before. Environmental manipulation. Cost. Variable based on complexity. He targets the cable and tries to increase its durability. The system asks him how much. He dumps 100 points into it and watches the durability climb from 8% to 38%. Time until failure changes to 25 minutes. It's working, but it's not enough. If he leaves now, it will still fail eventually. He needs to do more. He spends another 100 points to reduce the stress load from 97% to 67%. Time until failure, 3 hours. That should be enough time for the workers to notice the problem and fix it during their next inspection. He just bought 3 hours with 200 points, but he's not done. He finds the foreman of the construction crew on the floor above and uses 10 points to increase his attentiveness stat and put a specific thought in his mind to check the cables. The foreman suddenly stops what he's doing and tells his crew they should do a safety check. 2 minutes later, they discover the frayed cable and immediately shut down the scaffolding area. Crisis averted. Kazuki collapses against a wall in relief. He just saved 42 people and they'll never know how close they came to disaster. As he's catching his breath, the notifications come flooding in. Achievement unlocked. Prevent a mass casualty event. 500 points awarded. Save multiple lives. 200 points awarded. Environmental manipulation mastered. 100 points awarded. Special title earned. Fate Weaver. Effect: can sense probability shifts and dangerous futures up to 1 hour in advance. Point generation increased to 5 per hour. Kazuki stares at the notifications in disbelief. He earned 800 points for spending 210. The system is rewarding him massively for preventing large-scale tragedies. And his new title means he can see disasters coming an hour before they happen instead of just 15 minutes. He's leveling up as a guardian, and the system is giving him better tools to save more people. After the mall incident, Kazuki realizes he needs to be more proactive. He can't just react to crises as they happen. He needs to prevent them from happening in the first place. He starts using his new Fate Weaver ability to scan for probability shifts throughout his daily life. He sees a car with brake failure probability spiking and anonymously calls it in to a mechanic, claiming to have noticed weird sounds. He sees a gas leak forming in an apartment building and alerts the landlord. He sees a student's mental health declining toward another suicide attempt and intervenes early with stat boosts and a friendly conversation. He's becoming less of a reactive guardian and more of a proactive protector. His daily routine now includes morning probability scans of his neighborhood, lunchtime scans of school, and evening scans of the areas he frequents. It's exhausting, but he's preventing dozens of small tragedies every week. Things that would have happened, people who would have been hurt, all avoided because he could see the danger coming and change the trajectory. He's learned that most tragedies aren't sudden. They build up over time through small probability shifts that compound until disaster is inevitable. But if you catch them early, you can redirect the flow with minimal points. A 5-point intervention today can prevent a 500-point crisis tomorrow. It's all about timing and awareness. Kazuki's personal life starts to suffer, though. He's so focused on being a guardian that he barely sleeps. He's constantly scanning for threats and helping people. Ryota notices that he seems distant and asks if everything is okay. Kazuki wants to tell him the truth so badly, but how do you explain that you're secretly the system administrator of reality? Instead, he just says he's been stressed about exams. Ryota doesn't buy it, but he doesn't push. That night, Kazuki looks at his own stats for the first time in weeks. Stress, 86. Fatigue, 91. Mental health, 62. Social connection, 45. He's been so busy taking care of everyone else that he forgot to take care of himself. He's burning out. The system even gives him a warning notification. Administrator health critical. Performance may be impaired. Please allocate resources to self-care. Kazuki laughs bitterly. Even the system is telling him to chill out. He makes a decision. He spends 50 points on himself to reduce his stress and fatigue. It feels selfish, but he realizes that if he burns out completely, he can't help anyone. He needs to be healthy to be effective. He also makes a promise to actually maintain friendships and not let this power consume his entire life. Being a guardian is important, but so is being human. The next day, Kazuki apologizes to Ryota and asks if they can hang out like they used to. Ryota is surprised but happy. They go to an arcade and just goof around for a few hours. Kazuki doesn't check stats once. He doesn't scan for crises. He just exists as a normal teenager with his best friend. And it feels amazing. He realizes how much he missed this. When he gets home that evening, he checks his stats and sees that his mental health increased from 62 to 74, and his social connection went from 45 to 60. Taking care of himself actually improved his stats naturally without spending points. He learns another valuable lesson. The system works both ways. Just like he can boost other people's stats, other people can boost his through genuine connection and care. He doesn't have to carry this burden alone. He can't tell anyone about the system, but he can still lean on his friends and family for emotional support. That makes all the difference. Over the next few weeks, Kazuki finds a better balance. He maintains his guardian duties, but also makes time for normal life. He studies for exams, hangs out with friends, helps his mom with dinner, and even goes on a date with a girl from his class who asked him out. The date is awkward and nothing comes of it, but that's okay. He's learning to be a complete person, not just a system administrator. But then something happens that changes everything again. Kazuki is at school when his Fate Weaver ability triggers with an alert that makes his blood run cold. Catastrophic probability shift detected. Event: school shooting. Time until event: 48 hours. Estimated casualties: 25 to 30 people. Threat type: human malice. Kazuki nearly throws up. Someone is planning to attack his school in 2 days. This is not an accident or a natural disaster. This is intentional evil. He immediately checks the probability source and traces it to a student in the second year named Takeshi. He pulls up Takeshi's full stats and history and sees a horrifying picture. Bullied for 2 years. Depression 97, rage 99. Desire for revenge 99. Plans finalized 98%. Weapon acquisition in progress. Kazuki's hands are shaking. He has 48 hours to stop a school shooting. He could call the police, but what would he say? He has no evidence, just numbers floating above someone's head that only he can see. No one would believe him, and it might even make things worse. He needs to handle this himself. He has 920 points available. He looks at Takeshi's stats and considers his options. He could dump points into reducing Takeshi's rage and desire for revenge, but that feels like manipulation. This person is in genuine pain, and just numbing that pain without addressing the cause feels wrong. He needs to actually help Takeshi, not just suppress his emotions. Kazuki makes a decision. He's going to intervene directly. The next morning, Kazuki finds Takeshi eating lunch alone on the roof. He's a skinny kid with dead eyes and hunched shoulders. Kazuki can see his stats, and they're even worse in person. Will to live, 23. Belief that anyone cares, 0. Plans to die after attack, 99%. This is a suicide mission for Takeshi. He's planning to take as many people as he can with him. Kazuki sits down next to him and just says hi. Takeshi looks at him suspiciously and asks what he wants. Kazuki takes a deep breath and says he noticed that Takeshi always eats alone, and he knows what that feels like. Takeshi snorts and says that Kazuki is popular and couldn't possibly understand. But Kazuki shakes his head and tells him the truth. Before high school, Kazuki was the bullied kid. He was the one eating alone. He was the one that people ignored or mocked. He knows exactly what that crushing loneliness feels like. Takeshi's expression shifts slightly. There's a crack in his armor. He asks why Kazuki is talking to him. Is this some kind of pity? Kazuki says no. He just knows what it's like to feel invisible, and he doesn't want anyone else to feel that way. They sit in silence for a moment. Then Takeshi, almost in a whisper, says that he's tired. He's so tired of hurting. Every day is the same. The same insults, the same isolation, the same pain. He doesn't see the point anymore. Kazuki's heart breaks because he can see Takeshi's stats shifting in real time. Desire for revenge is dropping from 99 to 94. Will to live is increasing from 23 to 29. Just having someone listen is making a difference. But it's not enough. Kazuki needs to do more. Kazuki asks Takeshi if he can show him something. Takeshi shrugs, not really caring. Kazuki pulls out his phone and shows him a video about a person who survived a suicide attempt. The person talks about how they realized at the moment of attempt that every problem in their life was fixable, except for having just attempted suicide. They talk about how they found reasons to live and built a life they never imagined possible. Takeshi watches the video with tears streaming down his face. When it ends, he says that his problems aren't fixable. People will always hate him. He'll always be alone. Kazuki looks him in the eye and says that's not true. People don't hate Takeshi. They don't even know him. They just see a quiet kid and assume he wants to be left alone. If Takeshi lets people in, they might surprise him. But more importantly, Takeshi needs to value himself regardless of whether others do. Other people's opinions don't determine his worth. Takeshi breaks down completely. He admits that he was planning something terrible. He doesn't go into details, but he says he was going to make everyone hurt the way he hurts. But talking to Kazuki right now, he realizes how messed up that is. Those people have families. They have lives. They're not responsible for his pain even if they contributed to it. He asks Kazuki what he should do. Kazuki tells him to talk to a professional, to tell a counselor or therapist about these thoughts so he can get real help. And most importantly, to not make any permanent decisions based on temporary pain. Takeshi nods and promises he'll talk to someone. He thanks Kazuki and says he doesn't know why, but he feels like a weight has been lifted. Kazuki watches as Takeshi's stats shift dramatically. Desire for revenge drops to 42. Plans finalized drops to 30%. Belief that anyone cares increases to 35. Will to live jumps to 54. It's working. He's actually reaching this person. Over the next 2 days, Kazuki keeps tabs on Takeshi. He sees him go to the school counselor. He sees him talk to his parents. He sees him throw away whatever he was planning to use for the attack. The probability of the shooting drops from 98% to 12% to 3% to 0%. Catastrophic event averted. Kazuki gets the notification on the morning that the shooting was supposed to happen. Achievement unlocked. Prevent a massacre. 1,000 points awarded. Save 25 to 30 lives. 750 points awarded. Reach someone on the edge of darkness and bring them back. 500 points awarded. Special title earned, Soul Healer. Effect: can see and heal mental health stats with 75% greater efficiency. Can sense people in psychological crisis within 1 kilometer radius. Point generation increased to 10 per hour. Kazuki sits in his classroom that morning watching his classmates laugh and chat, completely unaware that 25 to 30 of them would have died today if he hadn't intervened. They'll never know how close they came. He looks at Takeshi, who is sitting alone, but looks more at peace than before. He's got a long road ahead of him, but he's on it now, and that's what matters. Kazuki used less than 50 points total on Takeshi. Most of the change came from genuine human connection, from being seen and heard. Sometimes the most powerful intervention is just being there for someone. The points were just a boost to help Takeshi be receptive to help. This experience teaches Kazuki something profound. His power isn't really about the points or the stats. It's about awareness. He can see what people are struggling with. He can see when someone is drowning. And that awareness, combined with compassion and action, is what actually saves people. The system is just a tool that helps him help others. The real power is choosing to care. After preventing the shooting, Kazuki's reputation at school shifts without him really understanding why. People sense something different about him. He's more confident, more present, more empathetic. Hana and a few other people he's helped have formed a sort of unofficial friend group around him. They don't know he boosted their stats, but they know he was there for them when no one else was. Ryota jokingly calls him the school therapist. Kazuki laughs it off, but internally, he thinks there's some truth to that. He has become the person people come to when they're struggling. And he's okay with that. He's found his purpose. But the system isn't done evolving. One night, Kazuki is reviewing his system settings when a new tab appears that he's never seen before. Network expansion. Would you like to grant limited system access to trusted individuals? Warning: this action cannot be reversed. Selected individuals will be able to see basic stats and contribute to point generation, but will not have distribution privileges. Kazuki's heart races. He can share this power? He can show other people the system? He immediately thinks of Ryota and Hana, but then he hesitates. What if they think he's insane? What if knowing about the system changes them? What if they're not ready for this responsibility? He decides to sleep on it. The next day, Kazuki pulls Ryota aside and asks him a hypothetical question. If he could see everyone's problems and had the power to help them, would he use it even if it was exhausting and lonely? Ryota thinks about it and says absolutely. He says that sounds like being a superhero, and who wouldn't want that? But then he adds that he hopes whoever has that power has friends to lean on, because that sounds like a heavy burden. Kazuki smiles and makes a decision. That evening, he sits Ryota down and tells him everything. He shows him the status screens, demonstrates changing his own stats, and explains his role as a system administrator. Ryota's reaction goes through several stages. First disbelief, then shock, then excitement, then understanding. Finally, he looks at Kazuki with newfound respect and says he had no idea Kazuki was carrying all of this alone. He asks if there's anything he can do to help. Kazuki opens his network expansion tab and sends Ryota an invitation. A screen appears in front of Ryota that only he can see. System access invitation from Administrator Kazuki Hayashi. Grant limited viewing privileges? Ryota says yes, and suddenly he can see stats too. Not as detailed as Kazuki's view, but he can see basic information. Health, stress, happiness levels. Ryota's jaw drops. He looks around the room, seeing numbers everywhere. He turns to Kazuki and says, "This is the coolest and most terrifying thing he's ever experienced." Kazuki laughs and explains the rules. Ryota can see stats but can't change them. However, every good deed Ryota does will generate points that go into a shared pool that Kazuki can access. Essentially, Ryota becomes a point generator by being a good person. Ryota grins and says he's in. He's going to be the best support character ever. Over the next few weeks, the dynamic duo becomes a reality. Ryota starts noticing people who need help and alerts Kazuki. He doesn't have Kazuki's crisis detection range, but he has good instincts, and now he has data to back them up. Together, they help twice as many people. Ryota generates about 30 points per day through his natural kindness and social skills, boosting their total daily generation significantly. Kazuki then grants limited access to Hana as well. She's more cautious with the information but becomes an incredible scout for people suffering in silence. As someone who experienced that loneliness herself, she has a radar for it. She identifies people who need help, and the trio works together to support them. It becomes a secret club of do-gooders with supernatural assistance. They call themselves the Balance Keepers because their job is to keep the scales balanced, to help those who are suffering, and to prevent disasters before they happen. Kazuki is the administrator with full access. Ryota is the face and connector who builds relationships. Hana is the empath who finds the hidden pain. Together, they're far more effective than Kazuki ever was alone, and the system rewards them for it. Group achievement notifications start appearing. Team effort prevented crisis. Bonus points awarded. Multiple administrators working in harmony. Efficiency increased. The system wants collaboration. It wants him to build a network of protectors. Months pass, and the Balance Keepers expand their operations beyond just school. They start helping in their neighborhoods, at part-time jobs, even online. Kazuki discovers that he can see stats through video calls and social media, which opens up entirely new possibilities. They create an anonymous advice account where people can ask for help, and they use the system to understand what the person really needs versus what they're asking for. Someone asks how to make friends, and they can see that the real issue is social anxiety 85. Someone asks about career advice, and they can see that the real issue is low self-confidence and fear of failure. They give tailored advice backed by data that actually addresses root causes. The account explodes in popularity because the advice actually works. People feel seen and understood. Behind the scenes, Kazuki is spending points to give people little boosts while they implement the advice, creating a feedback loop of improvement. Someone follows their advice, sees results, gains confidence, which makes it easier to keep improving. It's like he's giving people a running start in the race of self-improvement. The points roll in from achievements and their network continues to grow. Kazuki grants access to a few more trusted individuals over time. A former teacher who retired to volunteer work. A college student who runs a crisis hotline. A doctor who treats low-income patients. Each person brings unique perspectives and abilities to the network. The Balance Keepers evolve from 3 high school kids to a distributed network of guardians, all working quietly to make the world better. But success brings new challenges. One day, Kazuki gets an alert he's never seen before. System conflict detected. Another administrator has been detected in your region. Potential for territorial dispute or collaboration. Approach with caution. Kazuki's heart stops. There's another system administrator? He's not the only one? He immediately uses his enhanced detection to scan for the other administrator and locates them at a hospital downtown. He tells Ryota and Hana about the situation, and they agree he needs to investigate. Kazuki takes a train to the hospital and walks through the halls scanning for anomalies. Then he sees her. A woman in her 30s wearing a doctor's coat. Above her head, where her stats should be, there's a different indicator. System Administrator, Dr. Yuki Tanaka. Specialization, medical. Status, active. Their eyes meet across the hallway and both of them freeze. They can see each other's administrator status. It's like looking in a mirror. Dr. Tanaka walks toward him slowly and asks if they can talk somewhere private. They find an empty conference room and sit down. There's a long silence before she finally speaks. She says she's been an administrator for 7 years. She thought she was the only one until the system alerted her to Kazuki's presence yesterday. She specialized her powers in medical applications, healing people's physical ailments and preventing disease. She saved hundreds of lives in this hospital. Kazuki explains his own journey and specialization in crisis prevention and mental health. They compare notes and realize their systems are similar, but customized to their strengths and interests. Dr. Geese. Tanaka's point generation focuses on medical achievements while Kazuki's focuses on psychological and social ones. Dr. Tanaka asks Kazuki the big question. Does he know why they were chosen? What is the system? Where did it come from? Kazuki shakes his head. He's wondered the same things but has never gotten answers. The system just appeared one day and granted him powers. Dr. Tanaka nods and says she's done research over the years. She believes the system is some kind of corrective mechanism for reality. When suffering reaches critical levels in certain individuals, the system selects people with the capacity for empathy and responsibility and grants them power to rebalance things. They're not chosen randomly. They're chosen because they have the personality traits needed to use this power responsibly. Kazuki asks how many administrators there might be. Dr. Tanaka says she doesn't know but suspects there aren't many. Maybe a dozen worldwide. The system seems to select people sparingly and only when needed. They discuss the possibility of administrators with malicious intent. What if someone got these powers and used them to hurt people instead of helping? Dr. Tanaka's expression darkens, and she says she's wondered the same thing. The system has safeguards. Misuse results in penalties and potentially revocation. But it's still possible for an administrator to cause damage before being stopped. They agree to share information and support each other going forward. Dr. Tanaka gives Kazuki her contact information and says that if he ever needs medical expertise or encounters a situation beyond his capability, she's available. Kazuki thanks her and offers the same. They're allies now, two protectors working different aspects of human suffering. As Kazuki leaves the hospital, he feels less alone than he has in months. He's not the only one carrying this burden. There are others out there doing the same work. The thought is comforting and motivating. Back at school, Kazuki shares what he learned with Ryota and Hana. They're both amazed that there are other administrators. Hana asks if they should try to find more and create a larger network. Kazuki thinks about it and says maybe eventually, but for now they should focus on what they can control. Their region, their community, the people they can reach directly. Trying to coordinate globally seems overwhelming. Ryota agrees and suggests they just keep doing what they're doing. Their impact is already significant. In the past 6 months, they've prevented 2 suicides, 1 school shooting, 1 mall collapse, a dozen car accidents, and helped hundreds of people with mental health issues, relationship problems, and life crises. The Balance Keepers have become an invisible safety net for their entire district. People don't know they're being helped, but the statistics don't lie. Crime is down, suicide rates are down, hospital admissions for preventable issues are down. Overall happiness metrics in their area have increased measurably. It's working. The system is working, and they're the reason why. Kazuki realizes that he's not just playing a video game with reality. He's genuinely making the world better in measurable ways. That knowledge gives him energy to keep going even when he's tired. Even when it feels like the problems are endless. Because every person he helps is a real human being whose life has real value. And that's worth any amount of effort. As Kazuki approaches his 18th birthday, he reflects on the past year and how much has changed. He went from an average nobody to a system administrator with the power to change lives. He's helped hundreds of people directly and thousands indirectly through the ripple effects of his interventions. He's built a network of helpers who share his vision of a better world. He's learned that true power isn't about controlling others, but about giving them the tools and support to control their own lives. He's discovered that you don't need superpowers to be a hero. You just need to care enough to act when you see someone suffering. The system gave him abilities, but those abilities are just enhancements to what any human can do. Anyone can reduce someone's stress by being kind. Anyone can boost someone's confidence by believing in them. Anyone can save a life by being there at the right moment. The system just lets him see when and where these actions are needed most. It quantifies kindness and makes compassion more efficient. But the core truth remains. The world is full of people who are struggling, and the greatest power any of us has is the choice to help instead of ignore. Kazuki chose to help. and that choice rippled out to affect thousands of lives. That's the real magic. Not the stats or the points, but the decision to use whatever power you have to make things better. On his birthday, Kazuki receives a message from the system that he's never seen before. Administrator Kazuki Hayashi. Performance review completed. Assessment. Exemplary. You have used your privileges responsibly and creatively. You have built a sustainable network of helpers. You have prevented major tragedies while maintaining ethical boundaries. You are ready for the next level. New privileges unlocked. Global crisis detection. You can now sense catastrophic events worldwide and coordinate with other administrators. Master point generation. Your generation rate is now 50 points per hour. Network leadership. You can grant full administrator privileges to up to 3 individuals of your choosing. Reality anchoring. You can make permanent positive changes to environmental factors affecting large groups. Congratulations, Guardian. You are now classified as a System Sentinel. Your protection has been expanded from regional to global. Use your power wisely. Kazuki stares at the message in shock. He's being promoted to global responsibilities. The system trusts him enough to expand his range and power. He can now sense disasters anywhere in the world, and he can create more administrators. This is both exciting and terrifying, but he knows he's ready. He's proven himself on a small scale. Now it's time to expand his impact. He calls Ryota and Hana and tells them about the promotion. He asks if they're ready to take this to the next level. They both say yes without hesitation. He grants Ryota and Hana full administrator privileges. They're no longer just viewers. They're full partners with the ability to distribute points and access all system features. The Balance Keepers have evolved from a group of kids with special sight to a team of protectors with the power to change reality itself. The story continues as Kazuki and his team take on bigger challenges. They prevent a terrorist attack in another city by coordinating with Dr. Tanaka and a newly discovered administrator in the police force. They stop a pandemic before it starts by identifying the source and boosting the immune systems of everyone in the affected area. They avert an economic crisis by subtly improving the decision-making stats of key financial leaders. They operate in the shadows. Unknown heroes making impossible saves look like fortunate coincidences. The world becomes measurably better, and no one knows why. Crime rates drop globally. Wars are averted through improved diplomatic relations that administrators facilitate by reducing hostility stats and boosting empathy in key leaders. Medical breakthroughs happen more frequently because administrators are boosting the insight and creativity stats of researchers. Depression and suicide rates plummet as administrators identify at-risk individuals and intervene early. The human race is leveling up as a species, and it's all because a handful of people were given the ability to see the game underneath reality and chose to play it with compassion. Kazuki reflects on his journey from that first morning when he woke up and saw stats floating above his head. He was scared and confused and had no idea what to do with this power. But he figured it out step by step. He learned the rules, he made mistakes and learned from them. He found allies and built a network. And most importantly, he never forgot that behind every stat was a real person with real struggles and real dreams. That's what kept him grounded. That's what kept him from becoming corrupted by power. He didn't see people as numbers to manipulate. He saw numbers as a way to understand people better, so he could help them more effectively. Years pass and the Balance Keepers become a global organization of 37 administrators working in coordination. The first major test comes when Kazuki's global crisis detection pings with the most terrifying alert he's ever seen. Nuclear weapon launch sequence initiated. Target, major population center. Time until launch, 2 hours. Estimated casualties, 8 million people. This is it. The nightmare scenario every administrator has feared. Kazuki immediately activates the emergency protocol, and within minutes he's on a secure video call with every administrator in the network. Dr. Tanaka is there, as is Ryota and Hana, and 33 others from around the world. They have 2 hours to prevent a nuclear holocaust. The missile is being launched by a rogue military commander in a country experiencing political turmoil. The man's stats show paranoia 99, rationality 12, and belief in conspiracy 98. He's convinced that his enemies are about to attack and he's launching a preemptive strike. Traditional intervention won't work. They can't just walk into a military base and talk him down, but they have something better. They have 3 administrators within 50 miles of the base, including one who works in the Military Intelligence Division. The plan forms quickly. The Military Intelligence Administrator will create a false report showing that the supposed enemy threat was a communication error. Simultaneously, Kazuki will remotely spend points to increase the commander's rationality and decrease his paranoia. 2 other administrators will work on the technical staff to make them question the launch orders. It's a coordinated effort involving 7 administrators and over 3,000 points total. They have 90 minutes left when they begin. The military intelligence administrator gets the fake report to the commander, but he dismisses it as enemy disinformation. Time to launch, 70 minutes. Kazuki pours 500 points into boosting the man's rationality from 12 to 42. It's not enough to make him fully rational, but it's enough to create doubt. The commander hesitates and calls for verification of the threat data. Time to launch, 45 minutes. The technical staff, influenced by administrator interventions, report anomalies in the threat detection system. The data that showed enemy missile launches was corrupted. They recommend abort. The commander is now at rationality 58 and paranoia 70. He's starting to think clearly. He asks for a direct line to his own intelligence agencies. Time to launch, 20 minutes. The intelligence confirms there is no incoming attack. The threat was a computer glitch combined with faulty intelligence. The commander, now at rationality 70 thanks to continuous point investment, gives the abort order. Time to launch, 8 minutes. The missile sequence is terminated. Crisis averted. 8 million lives saved. The administrators on the call are silent for a long moment, processing what just happened. Then Dr. Tanaka speaks. She says that this is why they exist. This is why the system chose them. Not just to help individuals, but to prevent catastrophes that would doom millions. The points flood in. Achievement unlocked. Prevent nuclear war. 10,000 points awarded. Save 8 million lives. 20,000 points awarded. Coordinate multi-administrator crisis response. 5,000 points awarded. Special title earned, World Guardian. Effect: can pool points with other administrators for major interventions. Crisis detection expanded to include systemic threats like war, famine, and pandemic. Every administrator in the network receives the notification. They've all been upgraded to World Guardian status. The system is evolving with them, recognizing that they're ready for greater responsibility. After the nuclear crisis, the Balance Keepers implement new protocols. They create a rotating watch system where at least 5 administrators are always monitoring global threats. They establish response teams specializing in different crisis types. Medical team for pandemics, environmental team for natural disasters, political team for conflicts and wars, economic team for financial crises. Each team has the resources and authority to act immediately when their area of expertise is threatened. The system supports this structure by allowing points to be transferred between administrators for collaborative efforts. It's no longer about individuals working alone. It's about a coordinated network functioning as a single protective entity for the entire human race. They prevent World War III not once, but 4 times over the next decade. Each time the scenario is different. A territorial dispute escalating to violence. An assassination attempt on a world leader that would trigger retaliation. A miscommunication between nuclear powers, a terrorist plot to steal and detonate a nuclear device. Each crisis is unique, but the response is the same. Identify the key decision makers. Understand their mental states and motivations. Intervene with the minimum necessary force to redirect the trajectory away from disaster. Sometimes it takes 500 points, sometimes it takes 5,000, but every time they succeed. The world continues spinning, unaware of how close it came to annihilation. They stop climate disasters by improving the environmental awareness and problem-solving abilities of scientists and politicians. When a major government is about to withdraw from climate agreements, administrators identify the politicians blocking progress and work on them. They boost environmental concern stats. They reduce corruption and corporate influence stats. They enhance scientific literacy so the politicians actually understand the data. Within weeks, the political landscape shifts, and the agreements are not only maintained but strengthened. When a breakthrough in renewable energy is stuck in development hell, administrators boost the research team's creativity and problem-solving stats. The breakthrough happens 6 months ahead of schedule. When public apathy threatens climate action, administrators work on media influencers and educators, boosting their communication skills and passion for environmental issues. Public opinion shifts measurably within a year. They cure diseases that would have killed millions by boosting medical research efficiency. A pandemic starts in a remote region, and the World Health Organization is slow to respond. Administrators in the medical field identify the pathogen early through enhanced detection and immediately begin intervention. They boost the urgency and decisiveness stats of key WHO officials. They enhance the research speed of scientists working on treatments. They improve the logistics and organization of relief teams. What would have become a global pandemic killing millions is contained to a regional outbreak affecting thousands. Still tragic, but infinitely better. When a rare disease affects children and lacks funding for research, administrators don't just boost researcher stats. They work on philanthropists and policymakers, increasing their empathy for affected families and willingness to fund medical research. Within months, funding floods in and a cure is found within 2 years instead of the projected 20. They end poverty in several regions by improving economic decision-making and reducing corruption. In one country suffering from kleptocratic leadership, administrators face an ethical dilemma. They could simply tank the corruption stats of all government officials, but that feels too much like mind control. Instead, they take a different approach. They boost the investigative skills of journalists and the courage of whistleblowers. They enhance the critical thinking of the general population. They improve the organization skills of opposition groups. In essence, they don't remove the corruption themselves. They empower the people to remove it through legitimate democratic means. It takes 3 years, but the corrupt government falls through public pressure and fair elections. The new leadership is still imperfect, they're human after all, but they're a massive improvement. The country's economy begins to recover and poverty rates start declining. This becomes the model for political interventions. Don't control leaders, empower citizens. The world enters a new golden age, and historians don't know why. Universities teach courses on the Great Peaceful Era trying to understand the mechanisms behind it. They point to improved education leading to better decision-making. They credit the rise of global communication reducing misunderstandings. They note the increasing empathy in younger generations. All of these are true, but they miss the invisible hand guiding these trends. Administrators working in education boost teacher effectiveness and student engagement. Administrators in media improve journalistic integrity and factual reporting. Administrators in parenting programs enhance emotional intelligence in children. Every positive trend that historians observe has administrators quietly pushing it along, making the improbable probable and the impossible possible. They call it the Great Peaceful Era, and write papers about the mysterious alignment of fortunate events that led to unprecedented global cooperation and progress. One particularly insightful historian comes close to the truth. She writes a paper suggesting that there might be an unknown factor contributing to global improvements. She proposes the existence of what she calls benevolent black swans, unexpected positive events that have disproportionate impact. She's right, but she doesn't know how right she is. Kazuki reads her paper and smiles. She's describing administrator interventions without knowing it. He briefly considers revealing himself but decides against it. The system works best when people don't know it exists. If humanity knew there were guardians protecting them, they might become complacent. They might stop trying to solve problems themselves, waiting for intervention. The administrators are meant to support human effort, not replace it. So the work continues in secret. But Kazuki knows the truth. It wasn't luck or coincidence. It was intentional intervention by people who could see the problems coming and had the power to fix them. It was guardians working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure humanity didn't destroy itself. It was the system working exactly as intended, selecting empathetic individuals and giving them the tools to heal a broken world. Kazuki is now in his 30s, married to Hana, and they have a daughter. He still has his administrator powers and uses them daily. But his approach has changed. He focuses on prevention and education now, rather than constant intervention. He teaches the next generation of administrators. Yes, the system has continued selecting new ones, how to use their powers responsibly. He's written a secret manual that gets passed to each new administrator, explaining the ethics and best practices he's learned over decades of experience. His daughter Yuki, named after Dr. Tanaka, who became a close friend and mentor, is 5 years old and showing signs of system sensitivity. She sometimes mentions seeing colors around people that correspond to their emotional states. Kazuki knows she'll probably become an administrator when she's older. The system seems to run in families now that multiple generations have been exposed to it. He's both proud and worried. He knows the burden of this power firsthand, but he also knows that the world needs protectors, and his daughter has the heart of one. She's constantly worried about other kids who seem sad. She shares her toys without being asked. She cries when she sees injured animals. She has the empathy required to use power responsibly. When the time comes, he'll teach her everything he knows. But for now, he just lets her be a kid. Kazuki stands on his apartment balcony looking out at the city. Millions of people going about their lives, completely unaware of the invisible guardians watching over them. He can see the status screens of everyone in visual range, thousands of them, all showing the ups and downs of human existence. He sees someone struggling with grief. He sees someone celebrating a promotion. He sees someone falling in love. He sees someone contemplating ending it all. He focuses on that last person and sends out a crisis alert to the nearest administrator. Within minutes, intervention begins. Another life saved. Another tragedy prevented. Another day in the life of a system sentinel. Kazuki smiles and goes back inside to have dinner with his family. His work never ends, but he's made peace with that. This is his purpose. This is what he was meant to do. And he wouldn't trade it for anything. The system chose him all those years ago, and he chose to be worthy of that choice. He became the guardian the world needed. And he's going to make sure the next generation is ready to carry that torch when his time is done. Because the world will always need protectors. It will always need people who can see suffering and choose to act. The system just makes it easier. But the real power has always been in the choice to care. That's what Kazuki learned. That's what he teaches. And that's what will keep humanity safe for generations to come. The story of the boy who could see the status system and chose to use it to help everyone is a story that will never be told publicly. But it's a story that changed the world. And that's enough.